Howdy, it's Damon, Brother Damon Chief Jones coming to you here on this great day. It's a little nippy and a little bit of drizzle here where I am, but that's okay. That never stopped me before, and ain't gonna stop me today. Anyway, I got my new phone. It actually come on, Monday, but it came late in the day, like 5 o'clock, 5:30, something like that. So I didn't even know if it was going to come that day, so I didn't make any plans. Tuesday was booked up. We had a very good friend that their father passed away, and so we was helping take care of their family, some issues to help their family, and that is spilled over into today. But anyway, I've got to be doing some travels today with my family, and if all goes good, I'm going to go to my carrier, which my phone is unlocked that I got, so I'm going to get it set up with my SIM card and get it set up with that carrier today. And then, of course, I'm going to have to monkey around with it and download some apps and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the reason I said that is when I learn something, I usually learn it pretty good, but it can take me a little bit to learn it. So I don't know if that's going to be 2 or 3 days or that's going to wind up being a week to learn it. But once I learn it, then I'll be back at it. Anyway, thank you to all the viewers. Thank you to all the subs. I ask that you would hit the like button, that you would subscribe, you would refer it to your friends. I seen a video this morning with David over at News Now Houston. Really liked it. He was trying to tell people how to stay out of trouble. I also say the same thing. You do have the Fifth Amendment to remain silent. I'm going to say 90% of the time or better, that's the very absolute best option. And that also includes the right not to perform. Now, it gets a little hairy, a little technical. It shouldn't, but it does. It's just the way things work in this country. Good, bad, right, wrong, everybody can argue from their different point of view. I'm going from a lawful standpoint to the Constitution. We don't necessarily have constitutional rights like everybody says. My constitutional rights, I know what my constitutional rights are. Actually, what you're saying is, I know what the restraint upon my government servants are. The First Amendment isn't so much a protection for you as it is an order and a restraint against your government servants. Okay? So they are restrained from interfering in your First Amendment rights, so it stops them. It's not, in other words, you already had all your inherent rights given to you at birth by God, as I said. Some people are atheists, they just say I have a natural right at birth. Okay, that's fine too. But I'm just going to say your rights are at birth. You know, I actually say your rights are at conception. Okay? But the point I'm getting at is this. When the police stop you, like David said, it's a de facto arrest because they've stopped you and they're not allowing you to move. Now, if you want to ask the question, am I being detained or can I go? That's up to you. If you ask them if I'm being arrested and they say no, it's just an investigatory stop. Okay, so what are you investigating? Well, I need your license, so forth, so on. So I'm under arrest. No. Okay, then can I go? No. Well, if I can't go, then I'm under arrest. And if I'm under arrest, my right to remain silent also includes my right not to produce. That includes my identification. Now, that's where I come from. David says you're going to have to show them your driver's license. Well, the Constitution of Texas and the Constitution of the United States supersedes any legislative law, because it's a rebuke or a rebuke to the Constitution. Okay? Anything that's repugnant is the best way to say it, repugnant to the Constitution. Either one of them is illegal. I hate to use that word because that's the system word. It's unlawful to the state of Texas Constitution. It's unlawful to the 50 States United Union Covenant, which is called the Constitution. So we have a different opinion there. I love David. I respect him. I think he does an outstanding job. There ain't anybody in the world that I'd rather go out and do a First Amendment audit with. Well, I went with Bama Camera 2 different times, and I love that. So let me put that in there. Bama Camera's a fantastic guy. Steve, P&P, it's a whole list of them. I don't even want to start naming names because I forget somebody and somebody want to punch me in the nose. You forgot to say my name. But yeah, I would really like to go with David sometime and help him do a First Amendment audit. And if things work out sometime between January and maybe March of this coming year, maybe I'll be able to tag along and do one with him. So a difference of opinion is a difference of opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. Doesn't mean he's right or wrong. Each situation is unique, like a snowflake or like a raindrop. There ain't no two alike. You got to really realize in the very end it's going to come down to the individual peace officer or law enforcement officer. He's either going to be a constitutional peace officer or a statutory law enforcement officer. And how you view that and how you deal with that is upon you. I can only give you words of wisdom. I can give you my experience, so forth and so on. I was always of the opinion, if you would get along with me and make my job a little easier, I guaranteed everybody I stop at, if you'll work with me, I'll work with you. But if you want to remain silent, then I'll have to figure out how to deal with that. And that didn't mean being nasty and throwing cuffs on people. Years ago, before YouTube come up, there wasn't that much of a what you want to call resistance. In other words, most people just did what they were asked to do. And it was normally a request. It wasn't a demand. It could go from a request to a demand, but it was normally a request. Okay? And a lot of people said, well, I don't think I have to do this or do that. And I tell them, well, the law says this or says that. Per my training, per my experience, per my belief. But I believe that some people truly, honestly did believe what they said. So was I going to argue with over something that was small or frivolous? It wasn't a rape, it wasn't a homicide, wasn't a home invasion, a carjacking. We're talking about a small civil issue, whether it was dealt with civilly or criminally in the court. It was a small issue. If the man or woman was honest and they really believed something was not right, I did not want to leave a bad taste in their mouth for police or constables, sheriffs, marshals, whatever, whoever I was working for. I didn't want to leave a bad taste in their mouth. So a lot of times I would let them go, and of course they probably felt like, hey, I got it over on him, or I told him how it was. Well, that wasn't necessarily true. Sometimes when you think you're getting over on the cop, maybe he's just giving you benefit of the doubt. Sometimes they are buttholes, and they got big egos and get butt hurt. That may have happened to me in my past. Probably did. I'd just go ahead and say, yeah, it happened. Probably when I was a young rookie cop, it happened. But I learned pretty fast, and I had some really old heads. That's what we used to call them in Dallas, the old heads, that taught me and trained me. Look, what if this was your family member? You know, pick your wars and pick your battles, and try and leave a good taste in the people's mouth, so you don't piss them off, and then I have to stop them tomorrow for summer, deal with them, and they blow my brains out because you pissed them off. Let's try and live together and get along, and let's try and deal with serious issues and not frivolous things. So I learned pretty quick. But it doesn't matter whether you're a school teacher, a plumber, electrician, cop, carpenter, you're a street sweeper, you're homeless, you're a millionaire. It doesn't matter. Everybody, like they like to call today, get their feelings hurt. They call it butt hurt or ego damage, or they got a lot of different words. Anyway, it just means it sets you off, whatever. Well, I don't mean to do that to nobody. If I do, I'm sorry. My job is to educate you and give you some wisdom to the best of my knowledge. As a minister and as a retired chief of police and chief deputy constable and all the other jobs I've had in law enforcement, I'm trying to tell you, it's going to come down to you. In the end, it's going to come down to you. You. And the cop or cops that stopped you. Used to, when I stopped somebody, they used to be called a thing called cover, where somebody else was going to cover you from across the street or behind or ahead or whatever. They was going to have your back. Well, a lot of times I worked, there wasn't no such thing as cover. There wasn't nobody on duty but me. I'd be in a county and there might be one deputy on in the entire county, and I'm the only police officer on in the city. So to say the least, we're the only two, and he might be on a call on the far side of the county. So if there was, quote, cover, he wasn't going to be there for 20 minutes and I could have been dead 100 times. I learned how to work alone. Sometimes I think I liked working alone better, because I didn't have to satisfy nobody else. But anyway, the long and short, it's going to come down to you and the cop you're dealing with. So you got to size up the cop, and he's got to size you up, and you got to figure out if you're willing to go to jail for your principles, morals, values, ethics, or the better part of valor is to relent and give them a driver's license if you have one, or go along with what they're doing and then go to court and sue them and take your video and your evidence and sue them and get them to change the policy. There's more than one way to skin the cat's what I'm saying. I do a lot of things I tell you don't do. Now, does that make me a hypocrite? No, I don't think so, because I'm telling you, I have enough knowledge, experience, and training to deal with 98% of the situations. Now, there's that 2% I might screw up, and I might go to jail. And I don't know when I listen to my own self. It has never happened before, but it don't mean it won't happen today or tomorrow. Anyway, be cool, be safe, God bless you. If you can contribute to me, my channel, the church, Daymond, Daymond 4040 at yahoo.com, Daymond4040 at yahoo.com. Thanks to the people that contributed various gifts to me. Thank you for everything you've ever done. I really sincerely mean that. Thank you to the people that gave to help me get the camera, and y'all gave half, and I'm putting in the other half that got my cell phone / camera, and I should be back up in a few days, maybe a week. If I'm not, hang in there with me. Don't leave me. Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.